Well, that's new. DNR is making some improvements here on the cross-country ski trails. Gonna have to ask my neighbor what that's all about. I'm out for a little hike, and besides checking in the improvements to the trail system, I'm gonna be playing around with APRS, but also gonna be trying a app for land navigation. I've been working on building, refining, practicing my land nav skills, both with paper and with different apps on the phones. Always good to have more tools in the toolbox. Now, what I'm going to be working with today is, if you can see through the glare, probably not, ATAK. Here's where I'm at. I'm at the cross-country ski trailhead. I loaded these icons at home and just kind of judged where I would be. And as you can see, I'm pretty much spot on for the trailhead. The map's not quite exact, but close enough. But hey, let's, while we're doing this, let's make this right on. And my goal, if I zoom back out, is to follow the trails. And this one even has some of the trails on there. I know it's hard to see on the screen, but whatever. I'm gonna walk past the backpacking campsite, see how close that is. Head up to the shelter, again, see how close that is and adjust it. And then I'm gonna do the reverse. Maybe you'll see I have my coordinates down here in the corner. I'm gonna write those down, and then when I get back home, I will drop a point and move it by editing the coordinates on here and put it there, kind of doing the reverse. So yeah, let's play around with ATAK a little bit. All right, so let's give a quick overhead on what ATAK exactly is, because some of you may not know. ATAK is a mapping and communications app. Its origins are in the U.S. military, where it was known as Android Tactical Assault Kit. Basically, somewhat related words put together to make a catchy acronym, because that's how the military goes. Very simple. It has a map. You can add features and draw on that map, just like if it's a paper map with grease pens and everything like that. And it allows two-way communications between other troops, command, all that kind of stuff, right? So it keeps troops from getting lost, knowing where they are, and helping put warheads on foreheads. They have a civilian version now, and it has the basic principles that you need in it. All the military, some of the military stuff's been stripped. Blech, words are hard. Some of the military stuff has been stripped out of it, but I'm not going to be calling in air support, so that's fine by me. Where this is useful, and it's kind of growing with especially wildfire crews. In fact, a lot of the icons and stuff that you can put on the maps are from emergency services and stuff. We can go in that later, but this is just a quick overview. It's a good mapping software, like like your Garmin Basecamp or Gia or CalTopo, all those other things, but it has a little bit of a military flair to it. What interests me most about it is it's pretty easy to use, and you can share data between different users, and you can set that all up. So it's ideal for recreational uses, fishing and hunting, backpacking, that type of thing. Think of coordinating with your deer hunting buddies. You can mark each other's stands and all that kind of stuff on there. Canoeing in the boundary waters, that type of stuff. You can map out where you're going to for your campsites, all that kind of stuff. on the preparedness angle, like I said, wildfire crews use it. Ideal for that. Ideal for search and rescue and disaster recoveries from hurricanes, tornadoes, all that kind of stuff. And of course, all the man-made stuff as well. Now, some other fun features with this thing is when you add objects to your map, like those blue rectangles I was showing you, you can add data to it. You can open them up, hand type notes into it saying, you know, this is this, this is that. And you can also take or attach video and images to it as well. So you can really share a lot of data. Take the canoe trip in the Boundary Waters area where you can, if you're a few hours ahead of other people, you can leave a waypoint for them to turn, you know, if they got a portage at one location or whatever. And not only leave the waypoint there, but take a picture of the area so they see landmarks without even looking at their phone to guide them where they need to be. Or if it's a disaster, you can take pictures of where a road is washed out so repair crews get a heads up on what they need to do. Or if there's trees across the road, what the chainsaw teams are up against, that kind of stuff. Now, some of you may be saying, how does this really fit on a channel for portable radio? This app works on the internet or cell service. That's not off-grid. It's not real radio. And for both of those complaints, you are correct. And also a little wrong. This ATAK is kind of a hybrid type thing. You know, think of it like WinLink and others. It works best if you have an internet connection, no doubt. You can access your own private servers where you can store a lot of information and distribute it, encrypt it even to people that you want. But it does work point to point in a way. And also it does work via radio. You can get plugins, and I think it comes built in where you can use certain radios. The one that comes built in, I can't remember the whatever it is. It's not amateur radio or GMRS, I know that. It's one of those, I can't remember if it's P25 or whatever, but it's, you know, if you got a $1,000 radio or a $1,500 handheld, you can make it work. Not for me, but I do see there's a plug-in out there that'll allow it to work through a VTech radio, much like the one I have down here on my hip that maybe you saw. If not, I'll splice in a picture of it. I'm staying away from that because that thing's like a $200 license fee. I don't expect something like that to be free, but $200 is way outside my price range. However, there is a free plugin that I do have installed that will work with Meshtastic. So there's going to be future videos with me hopefully talking to two different devices of ATAK via Meshtastic. Now that would be pretty cool. In fact, follow the link below. I'll go to the blog post. I'll go into a little more written detail. And in there, I'll have some videos from S2 Underground that's gotten into this in quite detail. In fact, S2 Underground's why I'm out here messing around with it now. He recently released a new revamped intro to ATAK video, which rekindled my interest. I downloaded this app like a year or two ago, messed around with it for 5 minutes, and like so many other things, I got distracted by the next, but I digress. We're coming up to the campsite. We'll get to the picnic table and we'll see how close I was able to eyeball dropping this thing from my living room couch, playing around with the map. All right, here we are at the campsite. There's a picnic table, there's a fire ring. We'll look over this ridge and you'll see where the ravine trail goes. And then right up here is where it connects to Ridgeline, and Ridgeline goes right through there. There's a little trail that comes to the little backpacking campsite. And if it will zoom, there we are. You see here's the trail system. Oh, hard to focus, but trust me. Right there is ravine that goes through underneath, ridgeline that comes up, and here's the campsite, and there's where we are. So not too bad. So here I just gotta press down on that, and then I can just drag it and drop it right to where I want it. Zoom in a little bit more. So here, there you can see kind of, it says campsite. Click on it. And here it'll give you all kinds of details on it. It's bearing to you in meters and in feet and in nautical miles. Your coordinates. You can change the symbology of it. What's all that? If you follow the military mapping stuff, you have all those things, and then also some other options. And you can add notes, all kinds of stuff, send it to your friends, all that. Pretty cool. I'm kind of digging this so far. So let's get mounted up and head to the shelter, see how close we are with that. So another pro and a con thing with this is it is extremely customizable and feature rich, right? Like just take the screen I showed you with the coordinates. You can have it show you in degrees, minutes, and seconds, or decimals, or UTM, or several other coordinate systems, units of measurement and metric or imperial, tons and tons of options as far as the markers and stuff, as far as the symbols that you use. You can draw on the map with different colors, draw shapes, all that kind of stuff. But with all that kind of stuff, there's just so many things that can distract you, or you can lose your place with, or it's not quite as intuitive as it should be. Now remember, it started life in the military, so it was designed by committee, right? But if you get it, play around with it a little bit, find the features that you would think would be interesting, and just experiment, you can come a long ways and just kind of ignore the rest. Again, very customizable. There's like a shortcut toolbar across the top where you can put a shortcut there for just the ones that you use, all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool. Definitely gonna play around with it a lot more. As of now, it is definitely my favorite mapping app, versus, like the Garmin Basecamp or Gaia, whatever, however you want to pronounce it. That one's pretty cool, but this one's a little bit better. I like the two-way communications where you can text back and forth. I like that it's encrypted. Pretty cool. I just thought one correction on the encryption. Depending on what you're sending the information over is encrypted. Meshtastic, of course, you can set up to be encrypted or not. And some of the online options for VPNs and virtual servers and that kind of stuff is encrypted. I'm guessing, well, not guessing, I know, for I'm a licensed amateur. If you're going to set it up with a ATAK radio, like the one I have on my hip, using the amateur bands and frequencies, not encrypted. Or should not be encrypted. All right, show you another cool feature here, hopefully. You see yonder down the trail is the shelter at the kind of the center hub of these cross-country ski trails. And down here, I'm kind of centered by that campsite, and you can see where the arrow is right up there. I'm just barely in it. But let's say I'm zoomed in a little closer. Now the arrow goes away, but you can see in the corner there's like a curve that kind of points to the general area where I want to go. Let's say I'm zoomed in, or I'm 1,000 miles away and there's no indicator at all. If I just hit this little crosshairs underneath the compass button, boom, it zooms out and puts myself right in the center of the screen. So that way it'll kind of lost proof yourself. But you can see I'm right on the trail and I'm pointing right at that shelter, so pretty cool. All right, side note, that new structure in the parking lot all makes sense now. On the back side of this shelter, there used to be a little storage shed, and it was in kind of not the best shape. You can see where the slab is. This is where they kept the grooming sled for the trails. So yeah, that's kind of a pain in the butt, where if we got a lot of snow, they'd have to come in on a four-wheeler or a snowmobile down this trail, which is a long ways. Oh Jesus, probably about 1.5 miles, 2 miles, well, maybe at least 2 miles. So if we got a bunch of snow, they'd have to drive the truck with the snowmobile on the trailer up to that gate, get out, work the gate with a lot of snow. That'd be a pain. Or park in that parking lot, drive the snowmobile all the way up here, hook on and all that. A lot easier, just keep all their equipment right into the parking area where the township plows. It makes perfect sense now. So, now that mystery's solved, let's talk more about ATAK. Another feature that I think is extremely powerful is how robust it is for importing data. I already mentioned you can sideload downloaded maps, or you can get any map that you have, digital form, plug a USB stick into your phone and import the maps that way. But you can import other things too, images, which will be useful in a second. Before I forget, like if you have a Garmin watch or any other GPS, you can upload or import your breadcrumbs or any waypoints that you saved on this. If you're using CalTopo or Gia, any routes that you drew on hiking trails, you can import that into it as well. Real cool thing about images, and again, in the blog post I'll link to this, I'll share a video from, again, S2 Underground. you showed a real useful thing for people in an urban area where, let's say you're staying at a hotel or you're going to a convention for work or fun, and there's a big, convention area layout. You can zoom in on your map, satellite image of the building, and then take a PDF of the vendor layout inside that building, or if your hotel, where your fire, take a picture of the escape routes that are on the door of your hotel room or a mall or whatever it is. And you can superimpose that image right over the building. So that way when you're in there, you can do like I was doing here on the trail. You can mark the places that you want to go. You can easily see where you are inside that building and what's ahead and the best route to get there. So pretty cool stuff. All right, we want this to be just a quick overview, so I'll wrap this thing up a little bit. Where does this fit, right? Like I said in the beginning, it's just another tool in the toolbox for me. I don't see it replacing anything totally. I do see using it a lot on the fly and when I'm out backpacking, doing camping and portable radio stuff. As far as grids down amateur radio stuff, I still see advantages with ATAK and APRS. Although this thing's pretty useful too for talking to direct people, and more importantly, talking to direct people privately. So there's going to be some use for that. Trip planning, setting courses and defining trail routes for hikes and backpacking trips. I'm still going to be using Gaia for that. Gaia. Setting up custom maps paper maps that I print out. Still going to be CalTopo. That's the best for that. But this is going to be, it's rivaling Gaia, really. I haven't experimented with creating routes on ATAK yet. That may be the deciding factor. And then saving stuff out in logical files, so I don't just have one map with everything. I haven't figured that out yet, but again, I'm just playing around. So yeah, I think it's, if you like Gaia, ATAK is definitely something you may want to check out. You may find it useful. If you're planning on using it so you and the boys can drill that third hole and take on the government. Remember, the government made this thing, so it might just magically disappear if the second Civil War kicks off. So if you're one of those doomsday prepper type guys, it may not be best for you, but hey, is anything online the best for you for that situation? I don't know. I ain't one of those. Rambled enough. I gotta get my heart rate back up on this hike. So catch you next time. I might want to have a buy me the coffee exclusive version of this video, because I just realized that if you don't understand the context, the term drill the third hole, that might sound a little kinky. All right, since I teased it, let's have some additional footage for the buy me a coffee folks. Let's go a little more detail with possible advantages of using ATAK for a preparedness type situation where you got a mutual assistance group, family, other like-minded people, whatever you want to call yourselves. If you run in those circles, like I do, those players may get all excited about the idea of amateur radio and using APRS and some of the other things, like I do. And then you get the drawback that none of them want to put forth the effort to get a license. Same situation I've been in. But, you know, there are options outside of amateur radio for that kind of stuff, and ATAK fits right in. It's still reliant on the internet for a lot of its key features, but if your buddies aren't willing to get an amateur radio license, or are even too inconvenienced to get a GMRS license, they'd probably download a free app that is based on a military app in a heartbeat, right? Get them this thing, get set up, create a very simple private server, send encrypted end-to-end text messages back and forth, get the feel of it. Then you might be able to ease them into Meshtastic quite easily. Let me turn that off. As I was saying, then you might be able to ease them into getting set up with Meshtastic, you know, as I dig deep in my pocket to try to find the dang thing. They get their tactical guy, ruggedized, de-googled Android device, pair it up with one of these Seed Studio Meshtastic nodes, and they're off and running, doing cool guy tactical stuff, encrypted, off the net, off the web, off the grid. Don't have all the features that they would have with amateur radio, but they're one step closer and better off. You know, like I keep saying, more tools in the toolbox. So there you go, some more thought on that. So if you're the prepper type and you're struggling to get your friends on board with solid radio comms because it takes a little bit of an effort, this could be the gateway. And if it's not the gateway, still pretty good stuff.